Good morning, everyone. This is your CET Scoop for August 29th, 2019. This is your community engagement leader, Janie Cahill, and I hope everyone is having a wonderful week with this beautiful, what feels like fall weather. So hope everyone's getting an opportunity to be outside a little bit this week and enjoy the breeze. So I'm going to jump right into it. I know there's been still a lot of questions surrounding a lot of our Thrive It member network events, where you can find information on these, when they're coming. I'm still hearing a little disconnect with when these events are coming up. So I want to make sure I'm going to go through all of these events today and just put this calendar in front of you. I'm going to include this calendar in the body of the email as well, so that way you guys will continually see these in front of you. Just remember, as a few kind remembers, that these Erica sent out a massive calendar back in November that had all of the dates for most of the events. Obviously, a few pop up that we add last minute. She does send that out in November, and then following that, earlier in the year, she did send out those calendar invites that contain the information for these events, not only including the date of the event as it gets updated regarding location and time, that continues to be updated, as well as any marketing materials, who the postcards and communication are going to be going out to and what counties, and as well as information regarding any attendees that have RSVP'd. So it's really important that you have to accept those calendar invites that she sent out earlier in the year. And if you don't accept those, then you're not going to get the information for them. Simply, you obviously don't have to accept them all, but the ones that you're interested in, make sure you accept them. Make sure you, a reminder, forward them to your office professionals or any individuals on your team that you work with, because Erica does not always get she does not have an up-to-date list of everyone's staff, and we know that continually changes a lot. So you do need to forward those. But just as a reminder, again, is information about these events. You can find them in those calendar invites and the email Erica sent out earlier in the year. So I remind you that anytime you see an email from Erica, make sure you pop that open, because those emails have all of these information in there for you. Also, these dates can be found on our Thrive It Member Network Ohio Valley calendar page website. So there is a link that I can send you if you need that, of where you can go to find these events, as well as they get in the business briefings, and then as they get closer to, you will see those posts on social media. So they are in multiple places, people. So no reason why no one should know about these events. But at any point, if you're not sure, if you're saying, hey, I'm not really sure, are there anything coming up in the next few months, just reach out to Erica and I, and we'll be happy to go over them with you. So let's take a look at the calendar now. We've got a bunch of them coming up. I want to make sure you all have the opportunity to plug into these. October 28th, so yesterday, and September 4th, we've got our Women's Build Day events with our Greater Dayton affiliate. Thank you, Kathy Folan, for leading the way with those. I got a couple pictures on a slide later from that event yesterday. Looked like the ladies had a great time and worked really hard, and looking forward to having another event next week. Also upcoming on September 12th, so this is going to be our Thursdays with Thrivent event with our Thrivent Student Resources in Dublin. So this is going to be the same event that we did in Troy with our Thrivent Student Resources. Denise Eder will be presenting that night. The topic will be the top 3 ways to the top 3 ways to reduce student loan payments. It is going to be in Dublin at the Muirfield Village Country Club. This event, you can probably speak, I know Mark and Josh and Terry and Kathy were at the last event in Troy, and I think they found the presentation to be very valuable and helpful. I know one thing that it did was it provided an opportunity for many of the individuals that were attending wanted to sit down with their advisor afterwards to go over some things. So that is always definitely a success from those events, as that's what we're wanting you guys to do, is have the opportunity to engage with your members and create a reason for them to meet with you. That is not the only goal of these events, but certainly a positive outcome. So that event again will coming up on September 12th in Dublin. I think we have about 45 signed up so far, which is great. But I would love to book out that room. So I'd love to get 100 people there and really fill the house. So we've got plenty of space. So make sure if you have any questions on that event, make sure you reach out to me. The information has went out through email and postcards. But again, please help push and promote that with your members here in the upcoming weeks. And shockingly, one last comment I want to make about that is we oftentimes make assumption that, oh, I work with only older members and clients and, this wouldn't pertain to them, which actually, in fact, 1/3 of individuals with college debt are over the age of 60. So it has become a retirement problem. In fact, we had 2 individuals that were over 70 that signed up for our last event, and we thought they did mistakenly, but come to find out, they actually still had loans that they were paying on, I think from some grandchildren or children. So yes, it is actually more than just a young person's problem. It is an everyone's problem. So looking for that to be a resource for you and your members coming up. September 14th, we have our OSU Stadium new member event. So for those of you who attended last year, I think you all had a great time. Looking forward to this event again. It's going to be the same format. Individuals are going to get a tour of the stadium. We're going to have a viewing party with some good food. We're going to be integrating the Fellowship of Christian Athletes to do an action team. And any individual that's been a new member in the last 1 to 3 years are those that are invited to that event. You should see them. The information has went out on that. Now, if we get out, I believe it's a week or 2 out. I think it's a week out, and we have not reached our capacity, then we will open it up to all members from a first come, first serve basis. But again, the intention is we're putting it out there to those new members from the last 1 to 3 years. That now, those members, of course, can invite their friends, and we encourage that as we really are starting to see more of a push to get some prospects to our events. And so hopefully you all will be able to attend because it's a great event and love to see everybody there. I have added one date to the calendar. This is our September 24th. This is September 24th. It is an online webinar through our Thriving Student Resources, which is going to be on paying for college. So obviously this is another very niche kind of crowd, but just be aware. You may have seen some things on Hearsay or through Erica going out about this. Just be aware it's going on. If you know of anyone that you think would benefit from that webinar, feel free to just be aware, put this on your radar, and just be able to help promote with those individuals that you think would be a good resource. In October, we've got our Magic of Generosity events coming up, both in Dayton, Columbus. We're very excited about these. Due to some things that have been out of our control with the scheduling, which have been a little frustrating to say bluntly. We are still working on finalizing those details for where, but I promise, as soon as we get those locations nailed down, we will send those information out to you guys, but that will be on October 10th and 11th. I have added another date as well to that calendar on October 11th. I'm going to have a busy day. Be in Greater Dayton Habitat for our Faith Builds Home dedication. That day is kind of tentatively blocked out right now as what they anticipate being that dedication ceremony. So I would, for all of you who would like to attend that morning, go ahead and block that out. For some reason, if that date changes, I will let you know. But after speaking with Greater Dayton Habitat, that is the date that they're looking at hosting that Faith Builds Home dedication, which if you have not been to one of these home dedications, they are a wonderful experience. So I encourage you to come out and just see what the impact we've been able to make with that Faith Builds project. Also, then we're going to have a Women's Build Day with our Columbus, Mid-Ohio affiliate on the 26th, followed by the December 3rd as our Giving Tuesday with Ronald McDonald House Charities events. I'm not going to go in a lot of detail right now about that as it's a little bit farther away, but I will let you know an update on the Pop Tab Challenge. You've seen probably a lot of information that's gone out for this, so we already started allowing individuals to sign up. It is a good problem to have, but we have actually had, I believe, we're up to about 140 churches who have signed up to participate in our Pop Tab Challenge. So it's very exciting. We're going to be looking for ways of how then do we engage those churches with us, and how do we get you guys involved in order to be making it successful and plugging you guys into that. So again, more information to come. The next few slides, I really just want to take a moment just to highlight a lot of the events. There have been so much activity that's going on in the last couple of months. So I want to highlight just all the great events that we've been having, the great activity from all of the financial professionals, and really just the participation and engagement I've had from you all. And thank you all for that, because you guys have really been doing a phenomenal job in making these events successful. So here's a couple pictures from our Thursday with Thrive It event with our Greater Dayton Habitat at the Greater Dayton Club back in July. I believe we had over 65 members and attendees there, which is a great turnout for a Thursday with Thrivent. Again, these events are meant to be a little bit smaller, but if you're like me, I'm very competitive and I want to have the largest attending events in our region. So I always get excited and we have a lot of members there. So this was a great event, great opportunity to engage the members with Habitat. Had a lot of good feedback from that event. Here's just a couple photos from our Thursday with Thrivent event in Troy. So these are, you can see with Denise Eder, our Thrivent Student Resources presentation that again, we're gonna be bringing to Dublin. Again, this presentation is, I know there's a lot of questions surrounding our Thrivent Student Resources, what they do. This presentation is different. This is not the TSAN presentation. I know that John does this. This is actually something different. You can be mindful of that there's a lot of different topics that Thrivent Student Resources covers. So looking forward, again, I had a great, we had a great experience with that event and the members and the feedback that we've got. So we're looking forward to bringing that to Dublin. Our Gifted Wedding Campaign event with 104.9 The River. We were really excited to be a part of this event and campaign. We had the opportunity again to be the presenting title sponsor. Hopefully you all have heard our name on the radio attached with this event. But at that event, I believe we had over 60 prospect attendees. From all of the couples that were nominated for this. So I had the opportunity to deliver the From Me to We workshop to all of those individuals. Went very well, had really great feedback. All of the couples in the room found it to be a really great resource for them. And a big thank you to Doug and Josh attending that evening, who was there to help me out. So I appreciate it. So again, this is, if you've never done a For Me to We workshop, it's pretty fun. If you are an individual who tends to work with some younger families or individuals that have maybe just gotten recently married, it's a great resource to them, as well as to start some conversations about some different planning measures that they should take as they're starting out as a couple. Other things going on, we've had our Habitat Southeastern Ohio Faith Blitz build. So here's some pictures from that event. It was a 3-day Blitz build. So this is the first time that I had participated in a Blitz build, and I had so much fun. You can see some of the photos there. One starting from as we're all praying at the wall raising ceremony. We had, I believe within the 3 days, over 75 volunteers come out, most of which were all we had, I would say, maybe about 15 Thrivent members, but the rest were actually new to Thrivent. So we had the great opportunity to introduce them to Thrivent and have some great introductions to what we are as a company. I had to include, if you notice on the bottom left, I had to include this photo. Some of you may recognize this individual that's down to the bottom left, financial professional Ed Richards. I just had to put that photo in there because it's actual documented evidence of him doing a little bit of physical labor. So I had to put that picture on there. I won't say how much physical labor, but there's a little physical evidence. So, and you can see I wanted to include this picture because it was really neat to see just in 3 days how much of that house we were able to complete with those volunteers. So it is not complete, but we got about 60% of the house done just in those 3 days. So thank you to all those volunteers and professionals. Here's a couple of photos for Women's Build Day in Greater Dayton that Kathy Fullen led yesterday. We'll be leading again next week. Ladies looked like they had a wonderful time and it looked like they worked tremendously hard. So thank you, Kathy, for leading that day, and looking forward again to seeing you next week on that Greater Dayton Women's Build. Gosh, we have all been so busy, haven't we? Here's a photo from Doug Booth and Dave Ritter leading a workshop, values-based budgeting workshop. I believe this was at maybe a single I think it was a single mothers group or single parents fair, I believe, at a church locally there on the east side. So glad to see them out doing some workshops in the community. Here's a picture from Linda Makov as we presented the Decoding Your Credit workshop for a group of women at a recent women's event here in Columbus. That was a really great opportunity. Thank you, Linda, for helping lead that workshop alongside myself and helping again engage in the community. Here's a couple photos. I know Joe and John have been busy lately. We've got a picture from their, John led the Backpack with the Crew event, working with the Salvation Army, and with Joe with his TCOM event, with their Restore Tailgate event. Both were in conjunction with, or for their Thriving Community event. So they're doing some great work there out in the community, getting Thriving's name out there. Here's a photo from Jeff Ritter and his Bike Buckeye Lake event that he's involved with every year. Out in the community, being a presence. So I just really can't say enough. You guys have all just been doing a phenomenal job, just being a presence out there in the community, being at these events, being involved, because I tell you, everything that everyone's doing, I really wanted to highlight people are doing, because one, it gives maybe some ideas of some things that you could be doing yourself, but also just keep in mind that when other people are doing these things, it really raises everybody's votes. We all know, that it is a struggle just getting Thrive's name out there, excuse me, and just people, who is Thrive? We haven't heard of you guys. Well, anytime anyone's out in there in the community, regardless of who it is, that really raises everybody's votes. So I love to see the activity from everyone. And I just thank you guys, and we just keep up the good work. Just to end things off, I've got a couple slides. If you're looking for any community activity or any prospecting and engagement ideas coming up, if you're kind of getting a little bit further in a year and you're like, oh, I'm just kind of can't think of any ideas. Here's just a few things for the time of year. Just remembering that it is back to school time. So maybe you're wanting to provide some treats for treats for teachers coming back to school. So you can read a little bit more detail about some ideas on that. Maybe contacting the school administration about any employee benefit fair days or health fairs coming up that you could participate in, or being a table display, if they are a 403B provider, of course. So those are a couple back to school ideas. Other things to be mindful of is that it is a lot of time for a lot of church picnics in August, September, as well as our God's Work Our Hands Day is coming up, which is a big day in the Lutheran churches on September 8th. So this is actually, I would say, I see some of the most of the action teams that go through are for this day, as there's many of those Lutheran churches are participating in those projects that day. So be mindful of that. Find out more information in your churches if any of those are getting involved, that you can be involved with, those church festivals and picnics, being a presence at those, maybe scheduling those times to meet with the churches and council, or offering to do workshops that you like to conduct. Remember, keep it simple when you're talking about workshops with churches. If you give them the entire book, it's pretty overwhelming. So maybe just give them a couple options, the ones that you personally like to deliver, and that way you'll enjoy it more yourself. And of course, as always, scheduling those fall coffee hours, temple talks, any of those Thrive in Action teams. Or as you get close to the end of the summer, consider maybe doing those summer client appreciation or referral events. So, picking maybe those 4 to 6 like-minded clients that they can bring their friends. You can see some of the ideas that I've listed below of ways that you could do some of those client appreciation or referral events if you're looking for any of those. So that is what I have. Again, I hope everyone's having a wonderful week. If anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out to me. And again, thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll talk to you soon.